The flashing red and blue lights painted the dark road as Malcolm Bennett pulled over, gripping the steering wheel tight. His heart pounded. He had done nothing wrong, yet he knew what was coming. A tall, burly officer strutted toward his car, tapping his flashlight against the window. Officer Brad Turner, a name whispered with fear in the black community of Oak. His reputation for harassing and framing innocent black men was well known. License and registration. Turner barked, his hand resting on his holster. Malcolm handed over his documents, his fingers steady despite the situation. Is there a problem? Officer Turner smirked. Step out of the car now. Before Malcolm could protest, the officer yanked open the door and pulled him out. Within seconds, he was slammed against the hood. Pain shot through his ribs. What's going on? Malcolm demanded. Under arrest. Turner sneered. Possession of stolen goods and resisting arrest. Malcolm's eyes widened. That's a lie. I did nothing. Shut up. Turner shoved him into the back of the police car. As the car sped off toward the station, Malcolm took a deep breath. It wasn't just any businessman. He was someone they should have never messed with, and they were about to find out why. Meanwhile, back at the station, Turner made a phone call. We got another one, Judge. Should be an easy win. Judge Harold Whitaker chuckled on the other end. Good work. Let's make sure this one doesn't see the light of day again. Malcolm sat in the courtroom, his hands cuffed in front of him. The judge, Harold Whitaker, glared down at him with cold, piercing eyes. Whitaker and Turner had a long history of working together, sending innocent black men to prison for crimes they never committed. The trial was a joke. The prosecutor presented fake evidence, a stolen watch supposedly found in Malcolm's car. No fingerprints, no proof, just Turner's word against his. Your Honor, Malcolm's lawyer Vanessa Green argued, this is a clear case of racial profiling. Officer Turner has a record of misconduct. My client is an innocent man. Judge Whitaker sighed dramatically. Enough, Miss Green. Let's not make this about race. The evidence speaks for itself. Malcolm clenched his fists. The judge wasn't even trying to hide his bias. Turner took the stand, putting on an Oscar-worthy performance. I saw the stolen watch in plain sight on the passenger seat. He claimed he got aggressive, tried to resist. So I had no choice but to arrest him. Malcolm couldn't believe the audacity. This man lied so smoothly, it was sickening. The verdict is guilty. Whitaker declared without hesitation. Mr. Bennett, you were sentenced to 5 years in prison. Gasps filled the courtroom. Malcolm stared at the judge, his face unreal, readable. Then he smiled. Whitaker frowned. Something funny, Mr. Bennett. Malcolm leaned forward. You should have checked who I am before framing me. Judge Whitaker shifted uncomfortably. And who exactly are you? Malcolm's smile widened. You'll find out soon. As he was escorted out of the courtroom, Malcolm whispered to Vanessa, make the call that night. The media exploded. Malcolm wasn't just a businessman. He was the son of a powerful U.S. senator. And not just any senator. Senator William Bennett, a man with deep political ties, a spotless record, and a zero-tolerance policy for corruption. By morning, FBI agents were in Oge. They raided the police station, collecting records, body cam footage, and internal documents. Then they arrested Officer Turner. Turner, now pale and sweating, was dragged out in handcuffs, screaming, this is a mistake. But it was no mistake. The FBI uncovered a years-long scheme where Judge Whitaker and Turner worked together to lock up innocent black men, forging evidence and accepting bribes. Malcolm stood outside the courthouse as reporters swarmed him. Mr. Bennett, how do you feel about today's events? One journalist shouted. Malcolm looked straight into the camera. Justice isn't about power, it's about truth. And today the truth won, but the battle wasn't over. The FBI found hundreds of case files with forged evidence. Families of victims began speaking out, sharing their heartbreaking stories of loved ones wrongfully imprisoned. Then came the biggest revelation: the governor was involved. The bribes extended beyond just Whitaker and Turner. This was bigger than anyone had realized. Malcolm's case wasn't just a victory for him, it was about to expose an entire network of corruption. A month later, Judge Whitaker stood before a new judge, shackled and humiliated. His crimes have been exposed in front of the entire nation. You abuse your power, the judge said, and for that you'll spend the next 20 years behind bars. Whitaker turned to Malcolm, his face red with anger. You ruined me. Malcolm chuckled. No, you did that to yourself. Officer Turner, life sentence. He had framed so many innocent people that his sentence was doubled after more victims came forward. As the FBI continued their investigation, more corrupt officials were exposed. It turned out Whitaker and Turner weren't the only ones involved. Half the Oak police force was under investigation. The governor, once seen as an untouchable political figure, was forced to resign in disgrace. The system had failed so many, but this time justice fought back, and Malcolm, he walked free, stronger than ever. He started an organization to fight against wrongful convictions, ensuring no one else would suffer like he almost did. Months later, as Malcolm sat in his office, he received a call. Mr. Bennett, there's another case you need to see. A man just like you, framed and sentenced to life. Malcolm took a deep breath. Sent me everything, we're not done yet. As he left his office, he whispered under his breath, they picked the wrong man.